Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I am your host, Alecia Jacobson. Have you been feeling exhausted, disconnected from yourself, or like you're constantly taking care of everyone else while quietly wondering, what about me? If on the outside your life looks fine, but deep down you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unfulfilled, that's where I come in. I help women stop going through the motions and start creating a life that actually feels like theirs again. Through one-on-one coaching, we work on your habits, mindset, boundaries, routines, and the bigger question of who you are and what you actually want. You don't need another self-help book. You need support, honesty, accountability, and space to figure out what's next. If this sounds like you, click the link in the show notes and book a discovery call with me. You will leave the call with a plan and knowing you don't have to continue to do it all on your own anymore. Hello, welcome to today's episode. I am here with a guest today that I always do, whenever I have a guest, I do full shower day. And I like do all of my thinking and stuff. And when I was thinking of her bio and I have recently connected with her on social media, she kind of reminded me of, you go on vacation and you get souvenirs or you like gather these like beautiful stones and stuff. And she seems like a person that has gathered beautiful experiences throughout her life. And I'm excited to share those and learn about them along with you today. And I hope that I ask really great questions to help you feel connected and get some really great inspiration from it because she seems like a very delightful human. And I
Oh
am
my gosh.
excited to get to know her better. And I am excited for you to get to know her. And today I am with Amanda Braverman-Brohn. She's the owner of True Colors, a boutique etiquette consultancy, a volunteer leader, maternal health advocate, speaker, former educator, and K-12 college administrator. She is passionate about creating meaningful community impact through services and advocacy. She is founder and executive director of the Moving Forward Foundation and currently in her 10th season as a coach for Girls on the Run. Amanda is also United States of America Miss Dane County and 2026 Wisconsin Governor's Service Award Volunteer of the Year honoree. Through her work in advocacy, modern etiquette, confidence building, and community leadership, she is passionate about helping people feel seen, supported, and empowered while encouraging others to use their own experiences and voices to create positive change. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you so much. What a kind introduction.
I did. I'm reading it. I'm like, wow. Because a lot of times it's like, where do I want to I always let the conversation go. But you have so many beautiful things that you shine a light on and experiences throughout your life. Tell us a little bit about you and sort of your path to get to where you are now, because you just share a light with the world. And reading
Oh my
that, I'm like,
gosh.
wow, you just seem so cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll let my kids know that you think I seem cool. They will be surprised and in disbelief, I'm sure. You know how I got here? I think it's maybe like you alluded to. I just picked up some beautiful stones along my journey, and sometimes some stay and I keep them, and sometimes I put them down and maybe someone else gets to pick them up. But I have just spent a lot of time gathering the things that bring me joy and that I hope can bring other people joy or comfort or inspiration. And that's how I've chosen to live the last few years of my life.
Yeah. Oh, so what was before? Did something shift when you say the last few years?
Well, before when I was in education, that was my focus. I spent a lot of time there. And then I just really wanted to focus on putting more good back into the world. And so service has really been the focus of what I've been doing for the last couple of years. I just love spending time in the communities. I love spending time with children. I love giving back, and it brings me so much energy and so much joy that's where I have decided is that's my place. That's where
Okay.
I am my best, and that's where I feel like I am able to make, meaningful contributions.
Yeah. And that, I mean, what did that take? Because
Mm.
I just recorded a solo episode talking about the sort of in between of knowing that the space you're in served you and it was the place for you. And then there's kind of this knowing that happens where it's
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm meant to do different things. I might not be sure what they are yet.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Because what was it pre, and then how did you navigate that to get where you are now?
It was it was sometimes it felt a little tumultuous inside because I loved being a school administrator. I loved working with children and families. I had to just really spend some time looking inside and really spend some time trying to decide where I spend my energy and whether or not those places are giving me energy back. And that was probably what did it. It took several months of really deep thinking and being nervous and scared and thinking, what happens if I'm not doing what I've always done? And I just also had to realize nothing's permanent. I can go back, I can do something different. And for right now, it just felt right to be focusing on doing good things.
Yeah. What was that transition like for you and for your family? Because it impacts kind of those around you also.
Yeah, it was actually amazing. It was very like the day that I stopped working full time and started giving full time, it was like it makes me tear up. It was just such a weight off of my shoulders, and I recognize that there is privilege in being able to do that and not work full time. As a mom of many children, and we've had health challenges throughout their lives, I have spent a lot of time focusing on my employment and focusing on my kids and their needs and on the needs of other people. And I had not really ever taken time to think about what I need to be the best version of myself. So I took a few months to just really think about that. And then as soon as that transition occurred, like literally the next day, I was just lighter. My shoulders were relaxed. It felt right. It felt good. My kids have more access to me. I'm more available to them because I'm not being pulled in so many directions. They can come with me to do some of the things that I do, which is meaningful and I hope inspiring for them. So the transition was actually the easy part. It was getting to the point like to make that decision that was probably scary.
Yeah. Isn't that wild that
It,
that last
it
percentage is the easy? I have goosebumps as soon
Yes,
as you
me
said that. It's
too. Me
yes.
too. Yes. And I just, it was really the thought of, you know what? So if it doesn't work out, then I go find something different. Like nothing about anything that we do doesn't have to be permanent. And so I really wanted to try new things. Do you remember like when we were growing up, people would celebrate their golden birthday?
Yes.
And it was like
We
the
were
day
just
that
having a
you,
conversation about that.
oh, really? Okay.
It's my stepson's golden birthday on Friday. And I was
Oh,
wondering, I'm like, do people still celebrate this? Because he said it's my golden birthday. I'm like, oh, I kind of forgot about that idea of a golden
yes.
birthday.
Yes. So I was born on January 26th. So my golden birthday was when I turned 26. I have no recollection of what we did. I don't know. I don't remember it. I think that I was either very pregnant, maybe I was on bed rest, or with a newborn. Like I don't remember what year it was.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and really do the math. But either way, I was busy focusing on someone else, either pregnancy and bed rest or a newborn. This year I turned 45 and I thought, okay, it's not my golden birthday, but it is the year 2026. So I decided to make it my golden year. And that's really what like has brought all of this on. So instead of having my golden day on my golden birthday, I am making 2026 my golden year. I'm doing all of the things that I wish I had done. I'm doing the things that I realized that there were things that I was saying like, "Oh, I regret not staying in dance when I was a child." And I thought, "I'm 45. That is only halfway to 90." Like my life is long. I have a lot of years. Why do I live with regrets today when I have so many years to do things? And so for my golden year, that's really how I decided I'm going to do the things that I haven't done. And so I'm living this as my golden year. I am taking an adult ballet class because one of my regrets was not staying in ballet. I have been practicing my Spanish on Duolingo. every
Yes.
day, like super committed. I think I'm like over 800 days of like my streak on Duolingo, but I really like focused on it. And I know it's not the same as really being immersed in a Spanish speaking culture, but it has actually helped in a few different situations. And so I've really been focusing on that because one of my other regrets was not taking more Spanish in high school and college. I just think it is so valuable, and I had so much respect for people who could speak more than one language. And I think Spanish is a really important language to learn. And so I used to live vicariously through my children, and I had them take Spanish all 4 years of school. And one of my kids actually was a Spanish minor for a while in college, and I was like, so excited and thinking, yeah, they did it. And then I thought, why can't I? And
Yeah.
so I am trying to do that. And then the other thing that came up, so it was during this like tumultuous, scary, what do I want to be when I grow up time. I think my literal Google search, I call it my midlife crisis Google search because it was such a big transition. I searched something like, how can I be a better version of myself and also volunteer more? And that was important to me. Even as a child, when people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would say, I'll volunteer. And when I met my partner that I'm with now, Matt, when we first met, he asked me, like, what do you want to do in your future? And I said, I really wish I could volunteer more. That's really what I want to be doing. And I'm super fortunate that he supports that and that makes it possible for me to do. But and obviously then when I won the Governor Service Award Volunteer of the Year, I was like, I did it. I'm a
Yes.
volunteer now. Like I really did it. But as I was doing that Google search and trying to decide, I was just randomly looking for what could I do? What can I be? And the internet is powerful, but the world is more powerful. And it brought me the Google search results, and it was a mission that said to empower women, to inspire others and uplift everyone. And I thought, well, yes, that's what I'm doing and that's what I want to do more of. And it was the mission for United States of America's pageant system. And so for a second there, I thought, no way. There's just no way I'm doing that. When I was 14, around 14, I think, I read in Teen Magazine. Remember how our social media used to come to us once a month and we would memorize that page to
Yes.
page. And there was an advertisement that said something along the lines of, in, you know, be more involved in your community, better speaking skills, make new friends, and gain confidence, something like that. And at 14, I thought, okay, that sounds great. I want to do that. My mom drove me an hour to another town for this orientation, and I got there, and the things that they said were like, okay, yes, I love that, I love that. But then they started calling it a beauty pageant. And at 14, my definition of what beauty was not what I was. I did not think I was a beautiful person. I did not think I could ever be considered a beautiful person. And as I've gotten older, obviously, I realized that beautiful things aren't just what we see in a photograph. It's the things that we leave behind. It's the things that happen, intentionally when we're trying to do those things. And so I swallowed hard and I signed up for this pageant. And that's how I became United States of America's Ms. Dane County. And it has been an opportunity. I said earlier, I just had been spending so much time giving, giving, giving to other people. And I had not taken very good care of myself. And through pageantry, they encourage you to take care of yourself. Your own self development is a really important part of it. And you talk about it with your coach. And you talk about it during, what we know of pageantry as like the onstage question. That's really about self development and self growth and confidence. And so it has been a really surprising but beautiful opportunity to focus on myself and who I am and who I want to be. And so those are the things that's my golden year. And that has been my opportunity to just really focus on myself, my community.
Yeah. I have like,
That was a lot. I'm so sorry.
please do not apologize. I was telling my husband this weekend, I was like, I don't know if other people have this, but did your kids watch Thomas the Train?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. So there was like all these train tracks that came into the station and
Yeah.
like merged into one
Yes.
train track. And that's how my
Yes.
brain feels a lot of the times where I'm like, which train do I want to get on and which one gets
Yes.
to go? And that's how, like, when I'm listening to you, I'm like, oh my God,
Mhm.
there are so many. There are so many right
But it
now. One of
all
the,
came together, and
yes,
now the train tracks are all, it's like when, they're coming in at the beginning of the show, the intro, they're all coming in and
yes,
backing up, and then they all come this way. That's how I feel right now. Like,
yeah.
all my tracks are moving forward, and it feels right.
It is right. And that
Yeah.
the space that you have gifted yourself to be in is what I see currently right now in the women that I'm talking to is this middle space where they're
Yeah.
not quite sure and they're doing me myself included that Google search of
Yeah.
like who
Yeah.
am I right now and
Let
can I
me save you some time.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just so neat to hear how you allowed yourself that time, that
Mhm. Mhm.
scary space of, well, if I'm not this person anymore, but I'm not quite sure who I want to grow into yet. And
Yeah.
now you're saying like, yeah, this is an immediate. I was actually, so the podcast I just recorded was about a prior pod. I have to show you this plant. A prior podcast I did was about repotting plants and
Oh.
how when you repot them, they have space. It doesn't even mean that something's wrong with the space that they were in. It just doesn't fit anymore. And it was because this plant inspired me. And as soon as I repotted it, like, and I'm not kidding,
Yeah, all the baby spiders. I love it.
I've never had that before. And
Yeah.
so then I just did a follow up on my excitement because it is my current inspiration. And
Yeah.
it is exactly what you are saying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like,
And I love that you called it a gift, because it really feels like that. It feels like I've given myself a gift, and we don't gift ourselves things that meaningful. Sometimes I might gift myself new shoes or a new shirt or whatever. This is a gift that lasts the rest of my life. And I really am treating it like that because I feel so fortunate to have this gift.
yeah. Did you always have this sort of bravery inside of you? Because
I
it is
don't think
very
so.
brave.
I mean, my gut reaction says no, but when I think back to the kind of person that I was as a child, I probably had some braveness because I was the person, I really tried to stand up for someone who maybe was getting picked on in school, or I would be the person that would get teased by her friends because I chose to sit with someone who was alone at lunch. And I do think that there's probably some bravery in there that I've just not recognized as
Yeah.
bravery,
That's big time
because
bravery too.
yeah.
I mean, those are the things
So
like now I try to teach to my children of
right.
if you notice something,
Mhm.
you do something
Mhm.
because people out in the, if you can, you do. People need us. And if
Yes.
it's safe
Yeah.
to support somebody, then it's our duty to do that in the world.
Right.
And yeah.
And I can remember as a child thinking how it hurt my feelings that people that I thought were my friends, were doing that, but that I mean, I can remember thinking, well, then they must not be my friends or they wouldn't hurt my feelings. And then I thought, if I can recognize that, the other people are sitting there by themselves. Like, do they have a friend to even have the opportunity to recognize things like that? And I just, my heart has always probably been a
Yeah.
very compassionate one. And so, yeah, I guess bravery. Yeah, I don't consider myself brave, but when I think about things like that,
You're
and
very
standing up
brave.
for. Mhm, mhm,
Yeah, because it's much safer to go with the crowd. And especially when we look at, we
mhm.
have a lot more information now about development in that kind of elementary age and wanting to fit
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
And you
right.
had the confidence to not need to fit in.
Mhm,
And that is,
mhm,
I mean, that's essentially
right.
like
And not
my,
to say I didn't want to, because of
yeah,
course I still wanted to be accepted, but it was worth the risk to me, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. Oh, I like that. It was worth the risk because it's essentially what you have continued to kind of
Yes.
assess is what is the
Yeah,
risk of this. And not
right.
everybody, you said you understand that there's some privilege in being able to completely transition. However,
Mhm.
there are so many opportunities to tap into these, not necessarily like the things left undone. You said
Yeah.
regret, but there's so many things that we look
Right.
back and it's like, oh, I wish. And it's like, well, why
Hmm.
not?
Exactly. That's when I turned 45 and people were like, "Oh, you're almost to 50." And I was like, "Yeah." And then thinking, and then 60 and 70, 80, 90. And they literally thought, I'm only halfway to 90. And that optimism about like all these years left of my life and looking forward to them and wanting to have them be good years, that mindset I think is maybe not talked about as much either. I think a lot of people think I'm getting older and so life goes downhill. And I just don't think that. And I don't want that for
No.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we are not winding down. We are
Like I
winding up.
learned exactly, exactly. It took me 45 years to learn all of these things. I want the next 45 to keep learning and to put them into action
Yes.
for sure.
Yes. We are the same age. And this year I thought maybe I'll do like a 45 and 45. I didn't really do that. However,
Yeah.
I like said, this is my best year. This is,
Hmm.
and I don't know what that even means yet. I have a feeling I'll look back and I'll see that. But I was talking to a friend. She's 30, or am I 46? I don't know how old I am. I think I'm 40. No, I think I might be 46. I actually
It's
don't
around
know.
there.
I think I might be 40. I don't know. That's how old I am. I am that
Yeah,
old
that's
that I
okay.
don't
That's okay.
remember.
Yeah, we're perimenopause age.
My gosh. There was one year I was 37, 3 years in a row, did not know. And we were up north. I was telling somebody like 37, I think it was one of my kids, and they're like, no, you're going to be 40. I legitimately had to call my mom and say, Mom, how old am I? So I went from 37 to 40 in about 5 minutes. Like that was a wild one. I
That's
definitely
funny.
do not recommend that one. But so my friend, she's about 10 years younger. We're working out and I was like, I'm not doing that. Like I'm not, whatever this was, it was like too many things all mixed up. I'm like, I'm going to do what I know works and that is not for me. And she's like, how old are you again? She's like, oh yeah, that's the difference between like, I'm still willing to try things and you have already tried, like,
Right.
what works. Like there's like
The
this,
risk,
like,
one wrong step and our knee will hurt for days. Yeah, it's
right?
not worth it.
No. And also we are okay saying that is no longer, that is not for me.
So, and I think that that actually is why I'm in the space I'm in now, because, and it might have to do with, where I was in life and at that employer and at that specific time, it just wasn't for me anymore. And it was causing me so much inner turmoil. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the mental stress. It wasn't worth that mental load. It wasn't worth me feeling burned out. And we talk about burnout and you hear about burnout. To experience burnout, like you're already in it and you're on fire. Like you're burning by the time you realize you're experiencing burnout.
Yeah.
I did not want to get to the out part. Did not want to burn out. I wanted to keep the light that you're talking about because I was no longer myself. I did not recognize who I was. I did not recognize the way that I responded. Have you seen that funny, like, it's like a real trend or whatever on Instagram and you scroll and there are people, moms will be like, what? And then they try to correct themselves and
Yes.
go, what? And they try to correct and they just keep, and what? That's how I felt. I would
Yes.
say something, I would respond, and I didn't recognize myself. And I thought, who am I? What is wrong with me? And my kids recognized it and they would kind of be startled. And that pained me that my kids would look at me like, sheesh, what's wrong with her?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to live like that anymore. And so that was when I thought I have to give me this gift right now. It doesn't have to be forever, but for some period of time, if I do not focus on myself again and turn the light back on, who will I become? Because I don't like the person that I was becoming. And I am so glad that I was able to take the time and space to do that because it was definitely not who I was. So
Yeah.
what's worth it? The sore knee, not worth it. The sore life, not worth it. Because you only get to live once. Why spend your time doing something miserable?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
there are big changes. I know that people, you have to pay the bills and you have to get things done, and you do. But there are so many ways to do it, and there are different bills to pay. You don't have to pay the same big bills. There are a lot of people, you hear about people who change their life and go live in a camper and travel. Like, that's possible, you know?
Legitimately
So
my Google search. I'm not even
I
kidding.
love it. I love it. I want that to be like my retired life where I can just like travel and like RV back home to see the
Yeah.
kids. And if I'm lucky enough to have grandkids someday, I like do that. But yeah, I think asking what is worth it? Is it worth this experience now? Is it worth the risk? Those are good questions to ask and really take time to like that metacognition and just
Yeah.
think about what you're thinking about.
Mhm. I like how you also said right now, because when
Hmm.
people go, when they think about these kind of scary journeys, it seems very permanent. It feels
Right.
like if I
Hmm.
do this, it's going to be forever. When in
Right.
reality, like you said, if it doesn't work, you can always go do something else.
Right.
And that I think is not talked about enough, that it doesn't
Yeah.
have nothing it doesn't have to be permanent. It's
For
a
sure.
right now.
I spent 14 years at the same, you know, employer, and I thought that's a long time to be with the same employer. And it felt like I had made a permanent decision until that moment when I decided that this isn't working right now.
And if you think about our kind of age demographic, how we were raised by our parents was,
Mhm.
you get a job and you essentially stay there forever.
Yes.
That was, I mean,
And
my
my
mom
parents
worked.
did.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
100%. Yes.
My dad's first job out of high school is the job he retired
Mhm.
from. My mom, she went as an adult, went back to school and got a nursing degree. And the job she got is also the job that she did have another job, but she worked there until retirement and then did another like employment for a while. But
Mhm.
they worked their lives there. So it did seem permanent. But now I just feel like, no, it doesn't have to be.
You can do anything,
I'm RVing my employment right now. We're just
right?
road tripping. Yeah.
Yes. And there's such freedom. I mean, like you said, the
Mhm.
the first day you felt instantly
Yes.
lighter. And that is how, I don't think I've ever talked to anybody who made, it's like you have that whole gap of friction of
Yeah.
making the decision, kind of putting everything into place. And then as soon as you step on, like onto that platform of the other side, it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
And that's when I knew it's worth it right now. Like, again, for right now, it's worth it because I was becoming so stressed and so burned out for an employer. And I used to tell teachers, you know, they would give and give and give and miss things. And I always would say, you know, don't miss things for your job because I value you. I'm glad you're here. But if you left, then tomorrow I replace you. You don't owe your employer anything except what you're doing that day. And I was giving and giving and giving so much. And I was an educator. So of course I know that like it's helping the future and things like that. But I sometimes felt like I was giving more at work than I was able to give at home then. And that's just not the kind of family life that I wanted. And so really thinking about how we make this life possible was vital to be, you know, to getting to that decision too. And
yeah,
thinking, I want to be able to take my kids to school and pick them up and not miss, you know, track meets or concerts or rehearsals and plays and things like that. I wanted to be at those things. And so again, I could just think back to that burnout period where everything was a blur of stuff together. And now I feel like I get to go, I get to enjoy things and life is just more enjoyable.
yeah,
And I'm still giving and finding ways to contribute. You know, one of the big changes that I made also was in the maternal health space, like you mentioned in my introduction, that I've been volunteering in the maternal health and stillbirth prevention space for over 18 years. And it got to where I wanted to do more things than I could do as a volunteer. And so I thought, okay, then I will start something new. And that's how Moving Forward Foundation was founded. Is just I knew after being in that space for so long where my gifts were and what I could do and what I could contribute. And I didn't want to have to hold back or ask for permission to do those anymore. And so I started something new.
hell yeah, you did. And that's it. I mean, if you think about like that gap, that friction space of
Hmm.
figuring out, like you're saying, I was holding back. So you have all of these gifts that you had the awareness, like, I have these
Yeah.
gifts, I have these tools,
Yeah.
I want to do this, but you were confined in the space that you were in. So you
Mhm.
created your own space. Can you tell us
Yes.
about that and how you came to be
Mhm.
involved in that space? Because you have a very
Yes.
personal story that brought you
Yes,
there.
I do. Yeah, thank you for asking. It's personal, but it's so special to me. When I was pregnant with my second child, I noticed that he'd stopped moving in utero. Nothing I could do. I pushed and poked and was on my hands and knees rocking and pushing and trying to get a response from him, and I just could not get him to respond. And I remember calling friends and family and saying, and I'd been on bed rest for about 4 weeks, I believe. I had preterm labor with all of my pregnancies, and this one was no different. And so I'd been on bed rest, but when I called friends and family, they said, "Oh, you're almost to the end." Like I was 37 weeks that day. So you're getting close to the end. They said he's running out of room, which is a myth. That doesn't happen. And the other thing that they would say was that maybe you're just getting anxious. And I thought, okay, like maybe I am. I'm gonna bring home a second baby soon. That could make a person anxious. I guess I shouldn't be in denial of that. And so I waited hours, and my oldest at the time would delay nap time every chance he had. And so one of the ways that he would do that, he was about 21 months old at the time, I think then, and he would try to play doctor on my tummy. So he would put on his like little Fisher Price toy stethoscope, and he would come and he'd listen to my tummy every day at nap time. And he would tell me the baby's doing good, the baby's okay. And that day, I had felt like something's wrong, but I just didn't know what to do. I was scared to call. I just felt scared in general and sort of like frozen, like, what do I do? And when he tried to delay nap that day, he got a stethoscope and he came over and he put the stethoscope on my tummy and he looked at me and he said, "The baby is not okay." And so I started crying and I picked him up and put him in the car and drove off to labor and delivery triage with him because I was home with him at the time. And so I had to take him with me, and he slept next to me while they prepped me for surgery. And then when they wheeled me in, a nurse took him and held him in the hallway until our family could get there to get him. And then his brother was delivered via emergency C-section. He'd had a stroke in utero. We found that out later. So that was what caused the change in movement. He was clearly in distress, and they were able to resuscitate him in the operating room. And he is now 18 years old. He just graduated high school. He's funny and talented, passionate, and adored by his peers and his siblings, and just such a neat person. And so that made me so grateful. For so many years, I thought, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that my baby's here. And I am. And then I started to realize we shouldn't be lucky in America in this century with all the access to education and knowledge that we have. We should no longer just be lucky to be bringing our babies home. And so that was when I started volunteering in the stillbirth prevention and maternal health space. Was just that gratitude turned into action because I didn't want other moms to feel lucky and I didn't want them to experience those losses if there was something that could be done. And so what we know now is that tracking fetal movement in that third trimester allows us to know what our baby's normal patterns are. And when we know what the normal pattern is, we know when it's not normal one day. And that's when we can seek medical attention and get interventions, whatever interventions are necessary to make sure that mom and baby are healthy.
Wow. That is incredible. I mean, both all the spaces of it, but just as a young mom going through that, I mean, terribly scary.
Hmm.
And
Right.
you knew also, I mean, you like,
Instantly, I woke up that morning and I knew, how you have children, so
mhm.
you know what it feels. Like when you're pregnant, you just know like that baby is in there. You can feel it. And when I woke up at 4 a.m. and I knew something isn't right. It's just felt like it gives me goosebumps, just
Yeah.
chills to think about like it was empty inside of me. And he was born, I think, at 4 p.m. So I waited that long. And that, like when I say I was lucky, I mean we were very lucky. He his APGAR was, I think he got a point of for fluid. I think he got like good points for the different things, and his only point was for the fluid that was still in there with him. He didn't get any other points, and so for us to have gotten there just in time really was just by luck.
Okay, so you tell us what that experience. I mean, one that's really
Mm,
great too. I mean, you clearly have a very optimistic attitude and personality because some people would take that and be bitter or use it in
yeah.
a different, and you have really turned it into something, I mean, just as we are, of service to
Yes.
other people. So tell us about the work that you do and how, with this foundation, what that looks like for
Mhm.
you.
Providing education to our community and also to, like, professionals. I spent a lot of time trying to reach individuals, on the ground. How many pregnant women can I reach in a year? And that's an ongoing, never ending and never success. I can never reach every pregnant woman in my state. And that's what I was trying to do. And I was trying really, really hard. And so I just wanted to be able to take that up a level. And so one of the things that Moving Forward Foundation is working on is we have drafted and are working on getting approvals for continuing education credits so that professionals would have an opportunity to take the class for their continuing education credit and learn about the importance of tracking fetal movement, the different things about it. And so I've been able to take my experience. I also, in one of my previous employment, I used to write the CE courses for nurses for a health sciences college. So I had experience. And as an educator, I know how to analyze and write courses and goals and assess. And so I just really am fortunate to have those gifts. And so that's how I'm using those is to provide ideally education for professionals so that they can learn more about, teaching patients to track fetal movement in the third trimester, why and how to talk to patients maybe who have experienced a loss and are returning. They didn't just move on, they're just moving forward. And so the name of the organization has a lot of different, that people are moving forward, not on. I wanted it to be about movement because that's what I want babies to be doing. And forward is our Wisconsin motto. And
Oh,
it
yes.
was also just what I wanted to do. I didn't need to just like change direction. I'm just moving forward. And I might change my path. I might get on a different train track and follow
Yeah.
Thomas or was it Percy? But for right now, I'm focusing on moving forward. It doesn't mean everything's perfect. It doesn't mean, that I've found the way. I'm just really trying to move forward and improve things as I go. So education is a big part of it. Advocating for systems change and policy change is another part of it. That one's difficult because ideally organizations that oversee obstetrics and gynecology would start to do that, but it's slow moving. And so I've been talking to some of our senators here in Wisconsin about, opportunities to help move things forward. And then in hospitals too, they can do that. They could make the after visit summaries include that information. They can make sure that at a certain week, patients are getting information about tracking fetal movement. And so those bigger systems changes are the route I'm trying to go now rather than trying to reach 60,000 individual pregnant people in Wisconsin annually. That's just not attainable. And then the other really important part to me was to protect the volunteers that are in this space. I know personally, and I know so many volunteers who just give and give and give so much. And we know that organizations need volunteers. And so they use their volunteers and they use their volunteers. And those volunteers are spending their time, their money, their resources a lot of times. And so I wanted to be able to, ideally, when we have funding coming in, be able to provide resources to volunteers so that they're not using so much of their own. So, like, volunteer, like just like I was a volunteer, or doulas are other really valuable people in the birth space that carry this mission forward a lot every day, but they are paid so differently and separately from insurance. And so we've been working on some partnerships with hospitals that would be able to have us provide education to the doulas, and we are able to help resource doulas through that partnership with the hospital. So those are the things that we've been working on in just the short couple of months that we've been in existence.
That is, I mean, a couple things that stood out. You took a lot of times we feel like our life is in isolation and the things
Yeah.
that we're doing, it's just this thing over here. And it's only looking back where you say, I was in this space, I was in this space, and I'm now using all of those tools
Yeah. Yeah.
that I have. in your mission, one of your life missions,
Yeah.
and you were able to gather them and bring them with you and
Mhm.
thrive.
Yeah.
Wow, that and this has just been a couple of months. This is
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been in my head, like, all these things, like, "I wish I could do this, I wish I could do this." Those have been in my head for almost 2 decades. It was just, I guess, being brave
Yeah,
and deciding, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." What harm comes from doing it? Nothing.
none.
No, right. So that makes it easier.
Yeah. Oh, this is fantastic. I mean, your life is an inspiration. I really
Oh.
I know because I'm when I'm listening to you, I'm also having people that I work with or that I know like they're getting called up like, "Oh, I need to tell them to listen to this because
Oh,
the way
thank
that you
you.
are choosing to live and share your message and live your message is it's tricky. It's tricky
Yeah.
for people and especially women who we have been told that essentially that burnout, what I later
Mhm.
learned, we're not supposed to be doing everything that was just
Right.
sold to us.
I know. We're doing motherhood in America used to be staying home and caring for the children and providing, the home responsibilities. And we still do all of that. And now kids, remember, like, I didn't even go to preschool. Did you go to preschool?
Oh no. No, I had a
Okay. Yeah.
babysitter that I got
Yeah.
dropped off and stayed there all day long and meandered through a field.
Yes, exactly. Me too. And I mean, I just think like I didn't even go to preschool, and now we've got kids in like toddler preschool and pre-K, and it's not just education that starts so young. It's like bam bam ball and t-ball and then soccer and scouts and all of the
And
things.
if you have
There
more
is
than
so
one,
much. Oh yes, like right.
yes,
And
that's what
so
it's too much.
it is too much. And so yes, I wanted to be able to do those things, and I love the opportunities for the kids. But yeah, burnout, it's no wonder. I mean, it makes sense. No one should be surprised when women are burning out trying to do, you know, work full time, take care of their kids, and be, this great Pinterest mom and social media mom and share what she's doing and where does she take care of herself? Because
Yes.
go to the grocery store by yourself, that is not self-care. That is just doing responsibilities alone. That one always gets me. Or go take a
Take a
bath. Like
shower.
that, yeah,
Yes.
no, that I shower because I need to be a clean person. I might take a bath to relax, but that is not self-care.
No.
And I really think like, well, what am I doing that's self-care? I'm just living my life the way I want to. I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about who I am and who I want to be and what steps I need to do to get there. And that, like, literally writing down what is my goal? How do I get there? Check, check, check. Am I on my way? You mentioned earlier you 37 for 3 years. And I thought, oh, she must have gotten a lot accomplished at 37 because you had 3 years
Yes.
to do it. And it's hard to keep track. So another thing that I do like social media for this. And you don't have to use social media for it, but I do like documenting the beautiful things that happen because the days can be really slow, but those years fly, except for 37. Those years fly by. And I don't want to look back and wonder what I did. And I think being intentionally grateful about good things that happen and that makes it easier to have conversations too. When somebody says, what have you been up to? What are you doing? Instead of saying, oh, I've been working. When you think about what you're grateful for and what you've been doing, it's easier to give a more meaningful answer to that.
Yeah, well, and it builds its depth to you. It's excitement. And if you look at the things once you gave yourself that space
Mhm,
and permission and every whatever all the things that you needed, the impact that you get to make, not that you weren't making an impact before, but the impact that you get to make while also thriving. And I
mhm,
mean, there's a different energy that comes
yeah,
with the burnout giving an impact and kind of giving yourself to other people
mhm,
and giving yourself to other people in service in a way that it's like it just keeps overflowing because there's so much within
yeah.
you that is
That's how it feels to me, like, it feels abundant, I guess,
yeah
that it's overflowing and I'm not running out of energy. People keep saying, like, "Be careful you don't burn out again," and it's a good point, but I feel so energized by the work that I'm doing because it's meaningful to me, it's meaningful to my soul, and it has been for decades. I don't do it because it's just a job. I do it because it has become my life's mission.
Yeah.
So that includes, my family, stillbirth prevention, community. I think communities are so important. And I think taking care of our community is the best way for us to be good citizens of it. And so being involved in the community is another way that I just get so much energy.
Yeah. That is beautiful. And I hope that in whatever capacity people are listening to your story, they can take one stone from it and feel the bravery that comes with it, because you are offering a gift with your story, because it feels so scary. It does.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
on that cusp of that knowing this no longer fits, and
Mhm.
stepping into it and hearing other women say, yes, I had all of these things and I did it. And now look, you have little baby spider plants it's
Yeah, I know.
it's
I want a spider
flourishing.
plant now. Yes, I love that story.
Yeah. And it's lighter, and it's something that I have felt through every single transition that I had afterwards. When you
Mhm.
make that,
Yeah.
put that stamp decision on it,
Yeah.
that lightness of, and kind
Mhm.
of anchoring yourself in knowing that that is coming once
Yeah.
you have all of the learning that you get
Mhm.
in that, kind of uncomfy space. Yeah. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you think would be important, or maybe that we didn't get to, that you would like to share?
Oh gosh, we covered so much, and I feel like I talked a mile a minute. I always, if anyone ever has questions, I'm love to talk to people. So if people have questions or want to know how to get involved in one of the things I'm doing, I would love for them to reach out. You can find me on social media. My both of my social media names or handles or whatever are just my name, Amanda
Okay.
Braverman-Brohn, on Facebook and Instagram. If people want to be involved and don't know how, I would encourage them to. I think the Rotary clubs are a really great way. Every community has a Rotary club, and I think it's a really wonderful way to get involved in communities. So I would just say those two things. Let me know if you have questions, and just get involved. Go give back somehow.
Yeah. Perfect. And all of your information will be in the show notes. So you can
Okay,
just go to the show
super.
notes, and you can find out about Amanda and connect with her, or send her a message. And just, I found you through social media, and I just, after a couple, I'm like, you are really cool. So, and you
Oh
are
my
even cooler
gosh.
now that I got to ask
Oh,
all
I
of these
can't wait to tell
questions
my
and hear
kids.
more about you, because you just doing the scary things and being, stepping into the spaces where you're so needed, is, if you think if
Mm,
all of us women were able to do that and did that and followed that sort of inner knowing, it would be just overflowing. The energy
yeah.
would be flowing
Oh
with
my
just
gosh, women would take over
amazingness.
the world.
Right?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
One step at a
Go
time. We
girls.
are doing
Yeah,
it.
I know.
All
Well,
right,
I
Amanda. Thank you
appreciate
so
your time.
much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being here today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.